0864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion.
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you. A busy day inside the Mashofsky Center today. Oregon in full pads getting ready for a 12:30 kickoff against UCLA. The Ducks, according to the odds makers, are actually not the favorite in that game. And a quick reminder, the last time this season that Oregon wasn't a favorite, what happened? It was a pretty fun day in Columbus, so maybe it'll be a fun day on the road again. 12:30 kickoff on ABC, 10:30 pregame show for us on the Oregon Sports Network. Jerry and Georgie will have the call. Always encourage you to sync it up because why would you listen to anybody but Jerry and Georgie on the broadcast, because they'll just be hooting and hollering and, well, they bleed green and yellow. So that's, usually a good thing if you're watching this show. And if you're listening to this show, you probably have similar interests. We'll take some of your Facebook comments and questions, your YouTube comments and questions if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour. Fun show for you today. Matt Ulmer will take over the show at 1:35, as he always does if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, because, well, they're also hitting the road to UCLA. And a fun shout out to Sean McPherson and the KWVA crew. Sean, one of our interns, is sitting over there editing. He can't even hear that I'm talking about him right now because he's got his headphones on, doing his job. Sean and the KWVA crew are making the trip down to call Oregon volleyball at UCLA on Friday before they're going and covering the Oregon football game against UCLA as well. So it's basically a Oregon versus UCLA week, at least for a couple sports. And we're going to talk with Matt Ulmer about that. Some good news for Joe Moorhead. The Oregon offensive coordinator has been cleared to travel with the team, and we're going to hear from him coming up a little bit later on today's show. And men's basketball and women's basketball season is just around the corner. For the fourth straight season, Oregon, the women, will open the season in the top 10 of the AP poll. They are number 10 following the release of those preseason rankings today. The Ducks, with that release, one of three schools with top 15 teams in football, men's basketball, and women's basketball. The other two are Michigan and Kentucky, if you wanted to know. And next week is the first women's basketball exhibition game. Yeah, we are that close to hoops, if you can believe it. Also, Davion Harmon has been named for Oregon men's basketball, one of 20 players nationally, to the Jerry West Shooting Guard of the Year award watch list. Chris Duarte, now an Indiana Pacer, won that award last year. 2 years ago, Peyton Pritchard won the Bob Cousy Point Guard of the Year award. So each of the last 2 years, the Ducks have had the best guard or one of the guards in your backcourt each of the last 2 years. Not bad. And now, with Harmon on this preseason watch list for shooting guards, and yesterday Will Richardson was on the Bob Cousy Award watch list, according to the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame that gives out these awards, that means that heading into the season, the Ducks have one of the top 20 point guards and one of the top 20 shooting guards in the country on their roster. I was at men's basketball practice yesterday, and I'll tell you what, this team is tall, this team is athletic, and I'm already looking forward to men's basketball season. And that's your news of the day, and it brings me to our athletic director segment that we do every Tuesday. She's making her debut. Rachael Doyle is here, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So everybody knows that when somebody comes on the show for the first time, you have to tell your 2-minute life story. Okay, so a quick introduction for Rachael before she comes at us with the 2-minute life story. Rachael, I always say that the most important people have very long titles on their business cards. And then when you're really important, you have a business card title that can be abbreviated, like to CEO. Yours rivals some of the longest ones I have ever seen. Rachel's the Assistant Athletic Director for Marketing, Sales, and Game Presentation. So
I am.
as part of your 2-minute life story, you have to tell us what exactly that means on a day-to-day basis. Now, I also don't know if you're familiar, if maybe somebody warned you about this. We do have a leaderboard for the 2-minute life stories. That means that we're going to time you. Are you ready for the 2-minute life story of Rachael Doyle?
I'm ready.
All right, go.
All right. I was raised in Portland. I decided to go to Oregon, ironically, for the sports business program. So ended up in the Warsaw School of Business. And then in that, I was also in the sports business club. I was also in a sorority. So really tried to get involved. I think that what I learned was to get the most experience to be able to get hired. Ironically, I graduated during a recession, so that actually ended up becoming a little bit more difficult than I thought.
Sure.
But I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do when I graduated and in what field. So I worked in TV, I worked in events, I worked in sponsorship. I just didn't know, where I wanted to end up. And so my senior year, I was a marketing and promotions intern here at the Oregon Athletics Department, and I was telling Joey earlier, one of our fun stories that we ended up we hosted Stanford for game day. And we ended up sleeping under the desks in the marketing office, between the time that we had to report for game day and when we had to actually start working in the game. So when people tell you athletics is a lifestyle, they weren't kidding, and I learned it then, and I kept committing to it. So graduated and then ended up working for Octagon. It's a sports marketing agency. Very similar to IMG, actually. And then they did a restructure here at Oregon and was fortunate enough to be hired here as the assistant director of game day promotions. I was here for about 4 years. You learn to move up in athletics, you have to move.
Yeah.
And so I was like, where do I want to move? And that's such an exciting time in your life, right? You're young, you don't know what part of the country you want to move in, but you're furthering your career. And so I thought that Auburn, Alabama would be a great fit. It's a completely different culture. It's an amazing tradition, and something that I thought was very different than what we have here, just on a different spectrum. And so ended up moving down to Auburn, Alabama, working for their athletics department for a while.
War Eagle.
Yep. And so we, at the time, MLS was beginning, and so I ended up leaving Auburn to go to Atlanta United, because when you work in athletics, you always wonder what the other side of the spectrum is like. Do I want to work in professional sports, or do I want to work in collegiate sports? So I kind of got that taste of what that is like.
Sure.
And then I call it my quarter life crisis. Where am I at on time, by the way?
You're at 2.5.
Okay.
That was pretty good, though. This is one of the most complete 2-minute life stories we've ever heard.
Sorry. Anyway, so I had quarter life crisis, decided to leave MLS, went to go work at Nike, decided I'm not a 95er. I need to go back into college athletics. And went to go work for the University of Washington. I was there for 4 years. And then this position came open. I was like, this is home. This is great. This is a match. Threw my name in the hat, and here I am.
All right. Okay, that was – so I'm going to subtract 10 seconds for my interruptions, because that's always a thing. That was about 2 minutes, 45 seconds.
Oh, bless it.
No, but seriously, so you got to understand – I mean, everybody who watches the show regularly, listens to the show regularly, knows that I always do this to people. I at least warned Rachel. So that meant that you could think about it, right?
True.
A lot of the time, I just – you don't have any idea it's coming, and so they end up being like 2-second life stories, right, instead of 2 minutes. So you've had quite the journey, but it's come back to the state of Oregon. All right, there's my first question for you. Why come back? What was so special about this place?
I mean, if you look at our staff directory, no one's left. And so everyone who I had these amazing connections with when I came the first time, they're still here. And so I think as you get older, and the culture that Rob and Lisa and Eric and all those folks up in senior associates, the culture that they've built is something where people don't want to leave. And so I think that's something that, as my fiance and I moved back here, we want that community. We want that relationship with my coworkers, and to kind of build and grow on these amazing friendships, but also relationships and communication and whatnot. And so I think that was a great fit for us in coming back. And it's so, I know the history of Oregon. I grew up in it. And so it's so easy to come back to it and to market it because you really believe it, and that's kind of where you came from, you know?
You and I are similar in that regard, and that's part of why, Rachel, I was excited to have you on the show because, I think about that a lot. Like, they always say, like, in broadcasting, right? It's like the dream is to go call games for your alma mater or the team that you grew up rooting for. Well, I get to do that, right? Like, it's a get to do that kind of thing. I mean, how special is that? Like, you think about that, like, man, that if you told, like 15-year-old Rachel this is what you'd be doing, I mean, what would she have said?
She would have been like, holy crap, like, you work in sports, girlfriend. That's awesome.
That's great. That's awesome. Rachael Doyle's joining us. Okay, so Assistant Athletic Director for Marketing, Sales, and Game Presentation. So I said in some of the promotion for you coming on the show on social media that you're going to take us behind the curtain of like, presenting a game, right? Because it's not just what we see on the field, what we see on the court. As fans know, there's Don Essig reading things over the PA. There's videos on Duck Vision, and there's a lot that goes into it. Mm-hmm. I wanted you to kind of take fans through that process, if you could. So let's maybe start there. Like, what's a day-to-day look like, and what does a game day look like, maybe for football to start?
Sure. I start writing our football scripts about 2 weeks in advance just because there's so much that goes into it, so much content that needs to be prepared and written. And so whether that be video, board assets, whether that be recognitions, we have our Letterman's jacket reunion next week. We have our football reunion next week. So those are all things that kind of take time to plan for. And then the specialty stuff like flyovers and Mike Belotti's plaque presentation last week. We wanted to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward that the fans are seeing, and that takes time to kind of put together. And so whether that be through graphic requests, stats, IT, making sure everything actually works on game day. And we were talking before, that's always the fast-pacedness of what we do is hoping that something doesn't break right before a show. And so, working through all of those potential issues, like identifying the starting lineups, which ducks are going to be there, kind of just working through all of the details and then putting it into a script. But also something, and I think this is one of my favorite things about Oregon fans, is they want to engage in what you're doing. That's how we came up, and I know you were talking about it a few episodes ago, is the Stadium Sing-Along. Oregon fans want to engage, and so that makes my job so easy because we'll just start putting together content that we know that they would be happy to engage in. And so that's kind of where we can have some fun in putting together what those assets look like for game day. But it's rehearsals, it's IT checks, it's content checks, does it fit the board? Is there a misspelling? Who's going to be in attendance? So just kind of lots of things coming together and then working with all of our coworkers to make sure that it does.
Quick shout out to a fellow believer in spreadsheets, everybody. You should see this spread. I should have taken a screenshot of that, actually. The spreadsheet that Rachel puts together and everybody then contributes to is one of the most beautiful things that an organized person has ever seen. So well done.
Big fans of color coding.
Big fan of color coding. If you could see, I don't know, well, I'll show you during a break, but my outlines for each show, about a month in advance, we start putting them together, and I'm color-coded to nobody's business. I mean, Scott looks at it now, and he sees different colors, and he knows exactly what, anyway. Fellow organization nerds, join us here on Duck Insider. Rachael Doyle is our guest. All right, so on a game day, if you've got, a break in the action, right? Like, that's when you're really doing your job, right? Like, is that a safe way to describe it for fans?
Yes, I would say the easiest way to describe what I'm doing is when the team is not actually playing on the field, that's when we're doing our thing. And so that includes the cheerleaders, the band, the graphics you see on the video board, the music that's being played, everything that goes into a game day that isn't the actual playing of the game. All
right, I want to go into a little bit more detail on fans. That Rachel said it, like the feedback that you give to Rachel, to everybody else, that's what creates the game presentation. So I want to talk with you a little bit about that, and then, you study a lot of other game day experiences. I mean, that's what you're doing. So I want to talk to you about how unique Oregon's is, because I've had the chance now to go to a lot of different venues, and I'm a little bit biased. If you can't tell, I'm wearing an O. But I want to talk with you about that because I have opinions. All right, I have opinions. We're going to come back a little bit more coming up in the Country Financial Studio, back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Exit Strategy, no matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Exit Strategy. No matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. That's right. They can help save lives by simply washing their hands. Just 20 seconds of thorough hand washing after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside can help fight against the dastardly spread of germs. Armed with only soap and water and hands, your superhero can protect you, your family, and everyone out there in America land. Amazing! Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack along with Rachael Doyle here in the Country Financial Studio. Rachel in charge of marketing. I'm just going to go ahead and call you the marketing guru. Is that cool?
That is just fine.
All right, so we can see what we're already abbreviating. Eventually, you're just going to be the MG, and then your business card is even more important. That's what happens. So you've been now at the pro level. You've gone to different college events, and you're I'm sure actively studying like what are other venues doing in terms of a game presentation. How do they engage with fans? Oregon, I think, does some things that are pretty darn cool. As you alluded to, they engage with you guys, and that's got to be the best part of your job. So you take a lot of feedback, I'm sure, from student athletes, coaches, fans. What's your secret sauce for an awesome game presentation, and how do you try to hit all those different groups of people so that everybody has a great time?
Absolutely. And I think that's what's been so important with the fan surveys that we've been doing in game. It really gives us an opportunity to learn what the fan feedback is and how they're feeling, and and it breaks it down by demographic. So it can it gives us more information to put together a better show based on who our demographic is and where we can be flexing up in some areas and when we're trending very well to continue on that thread. And so I think that starting the fan surveys this season has been just really helpful, and encourage everyone, if you do go to a game, please fill them out, because we do listen to them and read them and watch them and see how they're trending. But yes, we do follow along other schools very closely. The company that we do the surveys with, she actually puts together you can call them focus groups. So there's the Mavs, the Raptors, a lot of the soccer teams in there. And so there's a bunch of game day presentation people talking together, and it's so helpful to just bounce ideas off of other people. And you can take an idea and make it your own, and I think that's what's so special about Oregon is we'll take other ideas, but we need to make it our own before we put it in game. And I think that having those conversations is really helpful for us.
And you guys are really, and I say you guys, but really this is like true of everybody, I think, at this point. You're competing with TV at this point, aren't you? I mean, do you feel like do you kind of feel that way? Like there's a lot more pressure now to have an awesome experience in game, not just for the student athletes, but for the fans, because games are so much more accessible now than they were 10, certainly 20 years ago.
I will literally watch a TV broadcast and make notes on the types of graphics that they're showing on their broadcast that we can show in game, just to make sure that we're rivaling that information that's being given to the fans and kind of doing comparable stats and whatnot. And so, yeah, we watch broadcasts all the time and try and take things to bring it into the end game.
Are there any other schools that have 2 theme songs? I mean, because Coming Home and Shout, like, those are theme songs of Oregon athletics now. I don't know of another one. I'm genuinely curious if you know one.
I know South Carolina has the Sandstorm, that's their shout version, and then I assume, that maybe they use their fight song, but I don't know of truly any other ones.
I mean, actually, Oregon's got 3, because don't forget you got a fight song. Right? See, I'm not to just, sit here and toot Oregon's horn on Duck Insider, but I feel like that's a pretty unique thing, and those are pretty cool traditions that have really, I think, taken off at Oregon.
Mm-hmm. And it's been almost since I've left, like within the last 7 to 10 years. These are awesome. These are engaging. These are getting people excited and being able at least to keep everyone until the end of the third quarter to participate and shout. It's really important to have that fan atmosphere and for fans to stay. And so the fact that our fans at least stay until shout is amazing.
What's the biggest topic that you hear from fans on? I mean, like, is there one that has stuck out in your career even recently, especially because God, how awesome it's been just to have fans back after last year was so unique. I don't know. Is there a topic that comes to mind?
A lot of our surveys are very based on replays, based on stats, music.
I thought for sure you were going to say PA volume.
No, that actually scored very well last game.
Oh, right. Yeah. Zach Taylor, shout out, buddy. Well done.
Very well last game, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I kind of joke because, like in the audio realm, right, like there's no such thing as a perfect volume because everybody's a little different with what they want to hear, how they want to hear it. So I actually, that's awesome. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, and it depends where they're located in the stadium, you know, and so, yeah.
Well, I will say with the new sound system, though, audio nerd here.
Yes.
So much better. Oh, when you heard it for the first time after you had left, I mean, what was that like for you coming back and be like, oh, this is so much better?
Oh my gosh. It just enhances the fan experience. You can actually hear what our PA announcer is saying. You can hear the words that are coming off of the video. That's huge.
And it's not echoing from one end around the bowl to the other. Yeah, so fans, if you haven't made it to Autzen Stadium to see the new scoreboard, I know that's what everybody's excited about. But remember, that project started actually as an audio improvement project.
Did it?
Yeah, it was originally, let's improve the speakers. And then a couple donors said, well, hey, let's maybe think bigger about this. And it became the scoreboard that encompasses the new sound system. See? Duck Insider. Sometimes you find things out on the show. Sometimes it's Duck Outsider, but, that depends on my mood for the day. Rachael Doyle joining us. All right, I got a couple more things for you. I think that it's so cool to talk with somebody that wanted to get into sports. You said that 15-year-old Rachael would have been thrilled to know that you were working in sports. What's your advice to those other 15-year-olds that are wondering, hey, maybe I can work in sports, And I tell everybody all the time, it's certainly not as glamorous with the hours and everything else, but the other side of that is if you work with a great team, you're in the trenches with that adrenaline rush, and there's nothing like it. There's my spiel. What's yours?
Very similar. You get that emotion. We're very passionate about what we do, and we're so lucky to be able to have that relationship and that passion and excitement. And so I think that's something that we look for when we're hiring is passion for what you're doing, because that'll get you through the trenches. That'll get you through those, tough times and late nights and whatnot. But I do tell everyone athletics is a lifestyle, and it's not going to change. I would tell young individuals to intern and volunteer and get that experience, because it's so important to have the customer service to talk with fans and to have those relationships. And there's so many statistics on how a positive fan experience and customer relationship with your fans can improve long-term their loyalness to the brand. And so it's very important for us to have experience and to hire interns and young staff that are eager to learn and passionate, like I was saying, and get that experience. And
I will say, I'll add to that, because I say this, and our interns that are sitting in the studio working right now, they have heard me say this, that it is totally okay if they come and intern and realize this is not for me.
100%.
I think that's what internships are for too. I mean, you get the experience, but sometimes you get the experience to know, no, I don't want to do that for a living. And that's totally cool.
Or you'll see something else that you like. Oh, maybe,
Sure.
They don't want to do marketing, but they think radio and TV is really cool.
Yeah, there you go. We've had some of that. We've definitely had a lot of crossovers amongst interns, especially as more and more there's so much crossover. You got to be asked to do so many more different things. I mean, I didn't go to school necessarily to be a graphic designer, yet here I am, right? Like, this is kind of part of the deal. And so, yeah, there's a lot of crossover. Well, I told you that I would keep you only for 25 minutes. We're at minute 24, and I still have half of my bullet points for you, which means that you're going to have to come back and do this again.
I'm talking too much.
No, that's not true. I thought this was great. I hope that to give you kind of the inside scoop on what happens on the game day presentations. Maybe we'll have to do this again once basketball gets rolling, and you can settle in at Matthew Knight Arena a little bit, too.
Absolutely.
All right, Rachael Doyle, thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate the time. When we come back, we're going to hear from Joe Moorhead. He's going to UCLA. Good sign for the Ducks. Let's talk a little football next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Coming up, we're going to hear from Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach. He'll be with us before his team also travels to UCLA. And another coach that's heading to UCLA got medically cleared on Monday. Some more details on that. Offensive coordinator Joe Moorhead meeting with the media.
So first, good to see that you're back and doing well. If you're willing and able to share just exactly what the issue was, just hearing that it was surgery, and there's just obviously a lot of speculation out there as to what that entailed. If you're able to share with us what all went happen.
Yeah, I'd prefer not to go into specifically what it was, but it was emergency major surgery. I guess we could leave it at that.
Mario said post-game that Travis Tide probably got a few more touches tonight than he usually does. After watching his performance against Cal and knowing UCLA has a very solid run defense, are you planning on using him in a similar way this week?
Yeah, obviously with CJ out, Travis has got to assume a little bit more of the role and responsibility of the primary ball carrier. And I think he had well over 200 yards of total offense, and Byron came in and did a nice job. But yes, certainly UCLA poses a very tough rush defense. I think they're 8th in the country. So we're going to have to do a real nice job there in our efforts to run the ball. But we're definitely going to have to find a way for Travis to get his touches this week as well.
Just from a day-to-day operations perspective, how kind of
don't want to say limited, but how have your time changed, I guess, throughout the week and then Saturday being up in the booth? What's your history with doing that? Was that strange to you? Kind of, how did that play out?
Yeah, last week everything I did was remote from home, and I just, like I said, two weeks, barely over 2 weeks out, and then was able to come in and call the game from the booth on Saturday. Just had a follow-up appointment this morning, and I'll start to be able to do some things from the office starting this afternoon. But I just got to be smart and judicious, with the approach, because it's still, technically in full recovery territory from the surgery. But yeah, I think that was my first time calling a game from the booth since the 2010 Fiesta Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, it a little bit different. You missed a face-to-face interaction with the players on the sideline and some of the motivational part, but you do get a little bit better of a view. So we'll continue to take it day by day, and but it will feel good to get back in the office and around the guys and the coaches in some capacity this week.
Coach, we've seen a lot of improvement from Devin Williams in the past couple of games. What have you really seen from him over the past month or so that's allowed him to become a bigger part of the offense?
Yeah, just continued consistency in his, in his practice habits and his preparation, and then certainly got, a bunch of, opportunities in the game and really produced. I know that, during spring ball, he and AB developed a very good repertoire, or rapport, I should say. And I know he feels very comfortable throwing the ball to Devin, and Devin has some of those abilities where he can, go up and make a play on those close and contested passes, and hopefully he continues his, his consistency in his approach, and continue to be a significant role in the offense.
Coach, we've really seen Terrence Ferguson become, a staple in this offense, just as far as, all the rep distribution. What have you seen from him to be able to cement himself as a regular, especially, as a freshman?
Yeah, I think he's got a ton of natural physical talent, height, weight, speed, soft hands, very good blocking ability, and particularly for what we ask our tight ends to do as blockers in the run game, and then ask them to be like receivers in the pass game. So I think he's matured very quickly. I think he's made some big plays in critical situations, and as he continues to progress and gain experience, we'll continue to see improvement.
Jalen's not the biggest guy, and yet we see him really effective in the run game, blocking, even that catch for the touchdown. Just what makes him just so an effective player, really, regardless of the situation, you feel like?
I think he's just got a tenacity about him as a competitor. I'd say he's got elite level competitiveness, and maybe some of the physical things or kind of measurables, may not be off the charts, but when that guy's given opportunities, whether he's tasked with blocking a safety or a linebacker or giving the ball on a handoff or making a play, down the field, he's got a tremendous amount of pride in everything that he does. And, I think he's one of the most competitive guys that I've been around.
At this level, I don't believe you've had a quarterback like Anthony in the fourth quarter in terms of the situational splits that he's having, passing or running. You speak to just the poise that he shows in those moments and how you try to go about getting that more consistently, because clearly there's kind of extremes with him over the course of games where he shows that, particularly in the fourth and even at times in the first quarter. And there's obviously some more challenging and difficult moments as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes with his overall experience, playing a bunch of football course of the past 4 or 5 years. So he's been in a lot of those game situations, particularly at the end of games where plays need to be made. But, certainly you go back to Ohio State and some of the other games, and then down a touchdown against Cal, and, kind of back against the wall and need plays to be made. And, threw some really, really nice balls, particularly the one to J-Red on the first touchdown, and then find a way to, scramble and score on the last one for the go-ahead. But yeah, like all of our guys at all positions, we got to find that consistency from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. But it's good to know when the ball's in the hand of the quarterback in the fourth quarter that, that's when he's been playing his most consistent, productive football.
Midway point of the season, Coach, just kind of wanted a big picture question about how you think the offense has performed through 6 games, things you think have happened that have been favorable, maybe areas that you think clearly need improvement.
Yeah, through 6 games, we're 5-1. I think we're second in the conference in scoring by like 0.2 of a point, I would imagine. I think we're, top 3 or 4 in total yards. So the things that we need to do to help the team be successful, I think we're doing. We came into the season saying we wanted to do 2 things specifically: create explosive plays and limit turnovers. I think we've succeeded more in the latter than the former, but our explosive play ratio has improved, particularly this past week when we met our goal. We're doing fairly well on third down conversion percentage, and we've been doing pretty well in red zone touchdowns. So we're never going to reach the standard that we set for this offense because, I know a lot of people, we want to see a touchdown on every drive, and that's just not reasonable. So I'd say that we are trending in the right direction. I'd say that we are playing well, but I think there's a ton of room for improvement for us across the board as an offensive unit.
To clarify, are you physically able to go to UCLA? And if not, how does that work logistically?
Yeah, the doctor okayed me this morning to make the trip. Yes, ma'am.
Coach Byron Cardwell did a really nice job in a relief role on Friday night. How do you see his progress so far this season and perhaps the role on the team going forward?
Yeah, but, once CJ went down and Travis assumed the primary role as the starter, you've got Byron, you got Seven, you got Trey, and I think you got 3 really good guys in those roles who all present different skill sets. So, Byron had, I think, 3 carries in the game and did a really nice job there, did some things in pass protection. Seven's got his role and, kind of showed up in the, Arizona game. And I know Trey's really, working hard and recovering from his injury, and he's got a bright future too. So all 3 of those guys have done a nice job. They all do different things from a skill set standpoint, and they'll all be positive contributors moving forward.
Hey, Joe, going back to Anthony, I just kind of wanted to ask about your general evaluation of his performance against Cal, and did you see him doing anything particularly better than throughout the rest of the season?
Against Cal? Yeah, I think his completion percentage was up over 70, which was a good thing. Threw for over, right close to 250 and had positive, yardage on the ground, including the last touchdown. Certainly, I think in the third quarter there were probably some throws that we were either a little bit quick or off our footwork, and weren't necessarily what we wanted to do. But I think he took a positive step forward. At the end of the day, from a broad strokes perspective, I said we're 5-1. It's the basically the top ranked scoring offense in the conference. He's created 12 touchdowns in the air, on the ground, and has only turned the ball over twice. And when you play the position, you assume the mantle of responsibility and the criticism that goes with it. But I think AB is doing a solid job in his role. He's not Marcus Mariota. He's not Dennis Dixon. He's not any of those guys. But he's got to understand who he is and what he does well, and how that's going to contribute to not Justin Herbert, how it's going to contribute to our offensive and team success. You go back to the 19 season, we're averaging as many points, as many yards per game as that team with the NFL Rookie of the Year, an Outland Trophy winner, 5 NFL linemen, Jake Breland in the NFL. I think we scored 21 against Cal and 17 against Stanford and 34 against Arizona that year. So it's all relative. So
that was good stuff from Joe Moorhead, wasn't it? Talking about his quarterback and how everything is all relative. And it's good to have Joe Moorhead back. And he's getting healthier, just like the Ducks were at practice today, with guys like DJ James, Mace Funa, Alex Forsyth all back out there. Good news for the Ducks. We're hoping for some good news on the injury front for Oregon Volleyball as well, as Matt Ulmer joins us, head coach, Oregon Volleyball. What's up, man?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Look, okay, we're going to go to a break.
Okay.
Then we're going to come back.
Oh.
And then we're going to talk about how Friday is going to be an awesome volleyball day.
Let's go.
Are you ready for that?
I'm ready.
Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, football is back! So consider this your official excuse for always putting football watching first, courtesy of Pepsi. That haircut appointment? Seeing the in-laws for the first time in ages?
It's been so long.
Nope, sorry Susan, not if it's on Sunday. Long story short, after the year we've all had, we think you could use a little football watching. So crack open a Pepsi and cheer your football watching face off. With love, Pepsi. Made for football watching. That's what I like.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
We're back in the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union.
Hey.
Matt Ulmer.
All right.
Head coach, Oregon Volleyball. He's back with us. All right, Coach. I was
the
talking
brutally honest Joey Mack.
Well, so are you.
Yeah, I am. No, it's true.
Have you ever been accused of beating around the bush?
I don't think so. Not
that
I can remember.
Don't you? I mean, you're just a straight shooter kind of guy.
I just think we just need to be honest with each other.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
And if we're trying to be great at something,
we need to be honest with each other. Right?
I'm just so proud of him. And that's because I was brutally honest with him,
That's
right? Look at the growth.
That's right. See?
If I would have tiptoed around that, this would never have happened.
This is what happens.
That's right.
Yeah. So
yeah.
All right. I talked about it on the show yesterday. Also, I have to tell you, I went over to Matthew Norini yesterday.
And what'd you see?
It was looking great up there. Flat Joey in the window.
Second floor.
Yeah. I got second floor.
I think you might be in Brielle's office.
I think I'm in Brielle's office now. So has Flat Joey now been in every office that faces Villard Street?
Yeah, and he's making his way up.
All right.
That'll be the interesting one.
You know, Coach Menega, I talked to Coach Menega at basketball practice yesterday, and his exact words to me, and I think that you're the reason for this. He looked, because I had my mask on,
right?
And I got
which we're thankful for.
Got the haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
Yeah, thank you. But the mask really for me it helps the bad breath. Broadcasters always have bad breath. It's a true. It's a true thing. It's like a common
Why is
thing.
that?
Because we talk so much.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
I believe you.
The point that I'm making is that I think that Coach Menega he didn't recognize me. He told me, he's like, I didn't even recognize you. Like, you don't have your glasses on, and you have your mask, your hair. And I said, no, Coach, I think it's because you've been looking at Flat Joey. I think
that's all he knows now. He doesn't know real life.
I think this is your fault.
I'll take it.
Yeah. You should.
Yeah.
You should.
You've been popular over there.
If you don't know about Flat Joey, it's my cardboard cutout that Matt Ulmer affectionately stole.
It's getting better use over there.
Yes. Yeah, it really is. I mean, what would we have done with it in here? It just would have been on a wall somewhere. And now people can see it, and it freaks people out. And
it does.
What's scarier right now, the Halloween decorations or me? What's the update?
Yeah, come on.
Okay. I know
that was such a soft toss.
Anyway, was over there yesterday and just wanted to say, looked good.
It looks good.
Thanks for putting it up there.
You'll keep moving around.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It looks good.
He's making a lot of friends.
Good. Yeah. Good. All right, I talked about it also on the show yesterday that it was a tough weekend. You guys had to deal with some injuries. Break down the weekend for us and from your perspective, and then we're going to move on for a great volleyball match on Friday.
So Thursday we played Washington, and
could we have stopped the match after the first two sets?
I think it would have been a forfeit.
Damn.
But I'm not really sure how the rules work.
Okay.
But we were up 2-0. I thought the first set, similar to Stanford the Sunday before, I thought the first set was some of the best volleyball we played. Just defensively, even offensively. I thought it was a pretty complete set from us. Second set, I thought they played better, and we made some big plays at the end to win it. So feeling good. And then third set, they kept getting better, and and we backed off. And so that was very frustrating to see, and just a lot of our game plan stuff we broke down. And I just thought our level of aggressiveness, again, we talked about a lot with from the service line, and then just attacking, just wasn't good enough. And we were up 8-7 in the fifth, again, feeling pretty good. And then they ran off 8 in a row, which I don't know if I've ever had that happen before. That's pretty good, that they can do that. And we lost 15-8. So that was very deflating, very frustrating performance. And then, you turn around and you play Washington State, who's also very good on Sunday. And we were not very good. We just didn't execute well. Again, game plan looked like we didn't have one. Our serving was just so easy, I thought, that they were just in rhythm way too much. And, we just didn't make enough plays. And even saying that, we still had chances in the first 2 sets, and we just couldn't seem to put it together. So overall, very frustrating weekend. Never want to lose at home, never want to lose in general, but more importantly, never want to play that bad. Right. So you talk about brutally honest. Yeah, I mean, we in film today, we just went over every point of Washington State and just showed, generally when you lose, you want to it gets emotional, and it's about, oh, well, we're not good. You judge yourself, highs and lows, and which we talked about after Utah, I think. So for me, going back, there's just so many things we could have controlled so much differently than we did. And that needs to be the lesson that we take forward. And again, we talked about that after Utah, but you're going to have bad days and it was a bad day for us. And now we have to rebound against UCLA and USC.
I think it's interesting. I mean, you and I have had this discussion before. Like, this is a squad that has not lost a lot, especially this year. Yeah. Right. And so now learning to take those lessons from a loss and then not let it happen again. I mean, I guess that is the focus this week,
and I don't think we've been swept since the first Washington match of spring. So, normally we have some sort of something. So that didn't feel good. Yeah. So again,
how'd the team take it? I mean, like, I know how you took it.
I said, see you Tuesday. Okay. And then I think they had a meeting by themselves afterwards, which is a positive, I think. They look refocused. So yeah, it's an interesting time. You're trying to balance being healthy, so then you can't really practice that much. Right. So then you really have to be mentally checked in. You have to be into your game plan. You have to know the film. You have to know your opponent. And we didn't do that well. And normally we're very good at that. So that was surprising me and a little frustrating. So we're going to have to be much better on Friday.
So it's going to be a better week. It's going to be a better week.
It already is.
Yeah,
Friday, it's already a better week.
Friday against UCLA. It's going to be great on the road, 7 o'clock. KWA is making the trip.
I mean, that's awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The voices of Oregon volleyball.
Wow.
Sean McPherson, Ryan Milano, they're hitting the road.
And those voices are wonderful.
See?
Yes. Looking forward to that. Thank you.
It's a big time beat UCLA weekend for both volleyball and football.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to.
It's the place to be.
That's right.
Yeah.
Pasadena. Not a bad place.
I like Eugene.
It's okay, but I like Eugene better.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a reason that I live in Eugene, and I like Eugene.
Yes, we do.
But being on the road, you mentioned, like, you never want to lose at home. After you have that happen, going on the road, it's tough to go on the road no matter what in this conference. What's it going to take to beat them?
Yeah, I'm not sure if we've done better on the road or at home. I feel like we've had good matches both places.
Boy, now you got me thinking. Even in your entire tenure, I feel like you guys have been pretty balanced.
We've done okay. I feel like, yeah. So again, generally it's about us. So how are we just going to perform? And we just need to show up and make sure we're playing our game, and then we're in a fight similar to what we were on Thursday against Washington, and before that against Stanford, and So again, you try not to ride the waves, or go on the roller coaster, because it's a long season and you're playing a lot of really good teams, and sometimes you're going to feel better than others, But we just have to continue to grow and be better as a team, and we're going to get another chance to do that.
Talk about that from like bigger picture here.
Yeah.
Like for an entire team, you're talking about you don't want to ride the roller coaster, but even for an individual, right? Like you don't want them to be riding
massively.
that roller coaster. I know you talked about that post game a little bit after this weekend. I mean, take us through that as a coach. Like how do you go about trying to just get athletes to be a little bit more level in that regard?
Yeah, and I think if an individual goes on the roller coaster, then the team is doing it too by definition, right? So one person starts doing it, and then it's just like a chain reaction. I mean, we really I feel like I always try to just get us to refocus in on our jobs and just our responsibility and what we have to do. Again, you get caught up in results. You get caught up in, what could be, as opposed to what you're actually tangibly going to make happen. And I know that sounds pretty simplistic, but it's really not in a game. And that's where you see a lot of momentum, and runs happen, is because you're starting to worry. You're starting to get fearful, as opposed to just resetting, talking about, what's my coverage here, or what am I trying to do on offense? Or if I'm a setter, what are my matchups, things like that. and trying to make the best decision possible. And I feel like we kind of get in that emotional space where it gets a little overwhelming, and then a run happens, and now you're having to come back, and now you're trying to turn the whole thing around, and that's pretty difficult.
I feel like it's also difficult too when you're going through you mentioned like kind of like a mental block, even a little bit. When you have player availability issues, that makes it harder, right? That amplifies everything that's going on. So
yeah, I mean, we'd like to be, next person up is a thing,
right.
And it's something that you want to do, and so just everybody needs to be ready to do that. And I like it when other people get their chance and now come through. For the team, I think one of the things that does happen that is very frustrating is when there's one change, how it can have that reaction on everybody else, and when everybody else just needs to make sure they're doing their part being stable so that new person can feel more comfortable. And we did not do that well at all. I thought on Sunday it became about maybe a little worrisome, and I thought, again, it just had a negative impact on everybody.
I've asked you about this a couple different times this year, but I feel like a lot of the times when you talk about things not going well, it starts with your guys' serve. I mean, is that a fair assessment that that's a real key for fans to be watching for when you guys are able to make teams uncomfortable with your serve? You guys seem to play pretty darn well.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, I think we're one of the best serve and pass teams in the country, and we got out serve and pass this weekend by the Washington schools, and I don't think that's ever happened before.
So there you
go.
go.
That tells you a lot. I really believe that your mentality really shows in your service game. And so for us, we've been really – I don't know, wimpy and cautious. I don't know a better way to say it. It's just not executing and not as aggressive as we know we need to be. To help set everything up. So
believe.
Why not? Why wouldn't you? I don't get it. I mean I get it. I play, but it's like I want us to get over it.
Right.
I want us to push through that. I want us to. And you have 6 different people back there serving, so we need 6 different mindsets that are really focused in on getting the other side in trouble. And right now we don't have that, so we got to find that, for Friday, and that's definitely something we're trying to work on.
Maybe you find that with another situation, like when Willow Johnson has to serve for a little while.
Gloria had 2 aces against Cal. I know.
So
I know.
So, but I say that kind of jokingly, but also it's like when your back's up against the wall. Sometimes that's when you perform like that, right?
Yeah, and I think it's just more of your competitors, right, that you want in there, the people that are willing to go for it. So, I mean, from a coach's perspective, no, I want the people that are in there to step up and play their game. That's what I want,
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's the people that are going to go out there and get after it. Those are the ones you have to have in. And, I have this idea of what I think our best lineup is, and it's a matter of can we get it out there and can we keep working exactly.
You're playing Tetris.
That's right. I like Tetris.
Yeah. Good game. Yeah. Are you good at packing a car? Like on
Very
a long road
good
trip?
at packing a car.
Me too.
Yeah. I actually think my wife would give me a compliment on that. That tells you how good I am.
One of the few.
I know.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what? Mine would too. I think it's great day.
Bonding.
I think it's because
we found common ground. Can you believe that?
I really think that it's because of all the Tetris I played.
Yeah.
You just see the way that all the things can fit together, and that's coaching.
Or is that Dr. Mario?
Both.
Yeah. Remember that with the pills?
Both. Yeah. Both.
Right. That's what it was. Yeah, I was into that one.
Good. Can you still sing like the Mario theme song? We were actually doing this morning in the office.
There's no words though, right?
No.
Okay.
Just like 8-bit sounds. Oregon volleyball on the road Friday, UCLA. It's on Pac-12 Network, and the hometown voices are making the trek.
Woo-woo.
Yeah, you can listen on KWVA as well. Matt, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
And hey, here's to a healthy trip.
Yes.
And a great trip down to Los Angeles.
See you there.
You will.
Okay.
You absolutely will.
Come on.
Yeah, where you land, the football team, I believe we are scheduled to get to. Hang on. I may not. I think we're supposed to get to our hotel.
He did not create the spreadsheet.
At like 4:30. Shout out Cody Look from Oregon football for that.
Like I said.
Yeah. But I took her spreadsheet and put it in
that
my
was nice.
spreadsheet.
That was nice of you to try and save.
It went into my spreadsheet though from hers.
Sure.
So a big planner.
Copy and paste, huh?
Yeah.
Nice job.
Really,
yeah.
Tough
Even I can do that one.
Yeah. Well,
What time did you say? I totally missed that.
Oregon volleyball, 7 o'clock on the road. Pac-12 Network on Friday and on KWVA. It is Beat UCLA week for Oregon volleyball and Oregon football. And
Let's do it.
Matt Ulmer, thanks for time, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to get a timeout when we come back. A couple more updates on men's and women's basketball as their seasons are rapidly approaching here on the Oregon Sports Network.
His hair really looks nice. It really does.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey, cheesy, crunchy slice of P-I-Z-Z-A? Obviously. But as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh, yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You know, I fully expected Matt Ulmer to say something going to the break, but he gave me like 3 compliments today, and now I just feel off. My entire day has just been totally derailed by the lack of tongue-in-cheek insults for us to throw at each other. It feels really weird. I feel like next week I'm in store for him to like dump water on my head or something, you know, and oh man, I don't know about this, guys. Women's basketball, 4th straight season. Ducks are in the top 10. That's right. Oregon with that release for Oregon women's basketball. They're coming off a Sweet 16 run. They're in the number 10 spot in the AP preseason poll. Pretty darn cool. Michigan and Kentucky, the only other schools with a football, men's basketball, and women's basketball team in the top 15. And Davion Harmon, transfer from Oklahoma, one of 20 preseason Shooting Guard of the Year award watch list members. Pretty cool. See you tomorrow.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway